Now this statistic, if you want to go look for the evidence yourself, where I found it, I had a very hard time finding an LD50 for chocolate. Most sources were just talking about animals, because that's what everyone wants to find out. Their dog's just eating chocolate. They want to know. They've heard in their mind that chocolate's supposedly poisonous for dogs, and they want to quickly look online to find some information about it, what to do. And so by looking for this LD50 in humans, it was pretty hard to find, and most sources I found were actually saying there was no LD50, but the only place I really found any information, and this didn't have any sources for scientific study, etc., so I'm not 100% sure on this, but if you search for the question, how much chocolate can a person eat before dying on wikianswers.com, you'll find the question that has that answer with those statistics that I talked about, with the 10.8 pounds of dark, bitter chocolate requiring being the amount needed to reach the lethal dosage of theobromine in humans. So another thing people talk about that I have not yet been able to find any evidence for is adrenal burnout from cacao consumption. Now, I look at things from the standpoint of traditional medicine, either Ayurvedic or Chinese medicine. If people have been following me on my YouTube channels, what I've read about on my website, they know I use some of this language quite frequently. And instead of getting caught up in little chemical, biochemical way things work, I tend to also use the right-brained approach, so a balance of left and right brain. So one is the scientific, analytical, breaking things down approach, one's looking at the broader picture, and it's that's the Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine and traditional herbal medicine kind of way of looking at things. And they divide things up into qualities. So in terms of, I'll just stick with one for now, but the Chinese medicine view of cacao classifies it as a yang-jing tonic, as well as a qi tonic and a shen tonic. Now what this means is, if we know that this can be likened to being stacked upon each other, you need a foundation before you build the other parts of this structure, which is these energy systems represented in the body. So that word there that I use, yang-jing tonic, jing is known as the core foundational energy. It's located in the lower abdomen, but it really is housed in the kidneys and the adrenals, and it is related to a variety of functions in the body and other systems of the body, the legs, the knees, and that kind of thing. So if you're having adrenal burnout, no matter what you're doing in life, it means that there's something going on in your body where your adrenals are being stressed. So if someone's getting adrenal burnout from cacao, does that mean that cacao is causing their body to be stressed? No. It means that their body is doing something that's requiring a higher level of energy to be used, and their body just does not happen to have the resources to build those things that the adrenals need to make. So if your body's running on needing more levels of certain hormones, key hormones that are made by the adrenals, but you don't have the resources to build them, for instance, this would be known as yin-jing in Chinese medicine, and it's this yin-jing that serves as the foundation for a lot of these things, specifically cacao. And what I've seen about people, just from my own analysis of them, people who have problems with cacao have problems in other areas of their life with this yin-jing. They have a lack of this yin-jing, which they often don't sleep that deeply. They'll have problems with their knees or lower back pain, and the list goes on and on, but these things are related to jing. So because cacao is a yang-jing tonic, it's missing that yin-jing tonic. That doesn't mean the cacao is a bad thing. It means that the individual needs to either build that up till it's sufficient to use this food wisely, or they need to take in other substances that bring in that yin-jing quality to balance out the aspects of the cacao. And this can be said for any food or herb that is balanced in different ways. So my personal experience that I talk about is my experience with astragalus or ginseng. A couple years ago, I was having this health crisis, which was around the time that I was getting the liver toxicity. There's certain lifestyle habits that will use up the jing quicker, and what happened to me was I was low on what we could call Jing in general, and these Qi tonics, which are higher up on the level of our internal energy systems. And I began to almost like run dry on this foundational energy, and it's sort of like if you were to see a candle as it gets down towards the bottom of its ability to burn wax, it starts sputtering and flickering and it doesn't burn steadily and strongly and give off the same amount of light and heat in equal amounts. So even though ginseng and astragalus are both known to be fantastic and healthy herbs and superfoods, you could say, people don't look down at them because they've been used and confirmed by medicine and traditional cultures that they're healthy when used in the right way. They do have contraindications for ginseng, such as high blood pressure. Now, if you're someone who didn't know anything about these classifications of herbs and you happen to have high blood pressure and you're taking ginseng and you notice this problem getting worse, you might be tempted, without any personal knowledge, to say ginseng's bad, it's causing this problem in me. Yet what you don't realize is that your body's already out of balance, so something that is pushing it towards the area of where you're already imbalanced is going to make you more imbalanced. So I'm proposing that the same thing is true about cacao. It's pushing people towards an area in their being that is already out of balance. Like I've been saying, I'm not saying it doesn't exist that people have problems. What I'm saying is that these people who do have problems with this product, they have aspects of themselves that they need to bring into balance first for it to work for them. Personally, I happen to have a constitution that was the opposite of what you might call the energetic structure of what cacao gives you. So it happened to complement my constitution very well, and it's helped me over the years with a variety of things that I had going on. Whether these were all fairly minor things. I'm young, I'm healthy, I have a very strong constitution, so I'm not, I wasn't in any position to have any extraordinary things happen, but I personally do know some people who have reversed heart disease themselves just by taking a little bit of chocolate every day. So to say cacao is poison for everyone is a complete overstatement. In fact, I would say cacao is not poisonous to anyone. Like I've been explaining, the poisonous aspect that people come to the conclusion of is because their own bodies are imbalanced and they don't know how to put that into words and how to describe what's happening for them. So they blame the product instead of looking at themselves and seeing what's out of balance within themselves first. So yes, this definitely does come back down to the scientific evidence. I'm talking about some qualities that are fairly right-brained, but I do base a lot of my research on scientific evidence too. I like that balance. That balance makes sense to me. Anyone that is too far in either direction puts me off because they tend to get boxed in and can't see the picture in its entirety. They can't see the details if they're at one end, or if they're at the other end, they can't see the big picture because they're too focused on the details. So if someone were to present me with an abundance of research on how chocolate, specifically not theobromine, because when you isolate a nutrient and study it, it's never has the same effect as the whole food. So if there is any studies out there on whole food chocolate, I won't say raw chocolate, I'll say processed chocolate, because that seems to be what all the research is on. There's not much study at the moment on raw cacao. But on general chocolate, if I were to start seeing some scientific research on evidence for adrenal burnout or liver toxicity, I might change my stance on it. I can admit I'm wrong, but I don't do that until I have both the evidence and the bigger picture being in alignment and making sense. And quite frankly, neither has any evidence or given any reason or quality as to this being a problem for people. So the individuals that are out there that have a negative view of cacao, I encourage them to either start doing some research that's very unbiased, and I would also like to see them not rely so heavily on these personal accounts of other people's experiences. Because as much as I think experiences are great and they can lend a bit of weight to an argument, they definitely do not make the basis of any argument. To say someone's body didn't work well with something, that doesn't mean anything unless you have the evidence to support it. And when the evidence is there, then these experiences that people are having seems to make more sense.